What's up, y'all? Hey, I got a nice collection of videos, and you already know it's for entertainment purposes only. So like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Let's get straight into it.
Nuclear batteries being tested this year, which last for 50 years without needing charging. So a company called Betavolt in Beijing, they are the first people to do this, apparently. What they do is they place 63 nuclear isotopes into a module smaller than a coin. It's already in pilot testing stage. It's being mass produced. They're testing it this year. They reckon it could be mass produced for public by 2025. The applications are almost endless in this, considering everything runs on electricity, right? Having this would be a game changer.
So I'm not sure if you guys heard about this. Nuclear battery produces power for 50 years without needing to charge. And apparently they are saying that this is past the prototype phase and they're getting ready to already go into mass production. Betavolt says that battery could power mobile phones that never need to be charged and drones that can fly forever. Now, this is never going to get into the hands of civilians. And for the simple reason that that would put a potential dirty bomb in the hand of every civilian. So what is this technology going to be used for? Because this is one of the biggest problems when we're looking at automation and robotics and the Spot robot, is that the battery life is abysmal, especially with drones. I mean, you're lucky to get an hour on some of the best drones, okay? Unless you're talking like a big drone with a massive battery, and the bigger the battery, the heavier it is, the more, it cuts into the flight time. But if you have this and you have batteries, we're really talking about a Terminator scenario here. Because if you recall, in the movie The Terminator, there were nuclear batteries that powered the T-800. So we're literally living out a Hollywood movie. It's unbelievable that right around the time that the robots are about to make an appearance, they just suddenly develop nuclear batteries. Go figure. And you can bet that the only people who are going to be allowed to use them are the government with their Gestapo jackboot thug robots.
We all know cats have 9 lives, but what about birds? A team of researchers is creating drones using dead birds, and it's raising privacy concerns. Researchers at New Mexico Tech are taking a unique approach to studying wildlife and flight by transforming dead birds into drones. The birds are preserved through taxidermy to make them as real as possible. The team calculates the flapping frequency, angle, and the weight of the birds while they're still alive.
We learn how these birds, they manage the energy between themselves. We can apply them into the future aviation industry to save more energy and save more fuel.
We've done experiments and determined that for fixed-wing aircraft, applying certain color can change the flight efficiency.
The experiment is raising concerns. Some advocates say the drones could be used by the military or law enforcement to spy on people. Researchers say they'll continue to study and develop the bird drones for the next couple of years. The current models fly for a maximum of 20 minutes.
So who remember a few months ago when people were screaming, "Birds are not real, birds are not real"? Well, I think you're going to want to watch this.
This is an American spy pigeon.
A fucking
It is
spy
equipped with
pigeon.
an explosive device
I cannot
inside
make this up.
that is as powerful as a giant bomb. Next to it is a military-grade chip to process incoming information. Below the pigeon is a turbofan engine that can dive at a target if necessary. Above the engine is a fuel storage tank to power it. On the chest of the pigeon is a high-definition camera that it can take very clear pictures even at a great distance. The pigeon's head is equipped with a transmitter that transmits the information it's captured. It's watching a house.
Spy pigeon.
The house is home to one of the Soviet Union's top scientists. It's watching every move the scientist makes. It transmits the information it's captured through the satellite dish. The spy satellites in the sky pick up his messages and pass them on to the intelligence office on the ground. The intelligence officer synthesizes the information. Once he analyzes it to the detriment of the U.S., he gives the order to attack. When the pigeon receives the order to attack, it would immediately start its jet engines and swoop down towards the scientist's house. The next day's newspapers carried a message. The scientist had been killed in a fire. One of these pigeons had been captured. When it was disassembled, it looked like this.
I'm telling you, right now, these motherfuckers right here are not real.
An explosive spy pigeon. Yeah, let that sink in. Let me know y'all thoughts of them allegedly having spy pigeons in the comments.
You ever randomly watch a pigeon? When they walk, it kind of look trippy. It make them look digital in kind of a way. Like having access to our phone ain't enough.
Let me show you some things that has been happening around the world. This is a tornado in Jensen Beach, Florida.
No, we just gotta wait till it passes.
You look how big that is and like how dark. Jesus, everybody got to stop and see that, boy. That's like God coming through, literally. That's God coming through. Did y'all know about this massive landslide that just happened in China? Look at this. Oh my goodness. Another landslide in the Philippines, y'all. Remember I showed you that lady that tried to stop the landslide? Yeah, well, this is another one. Y'all see the kids. Oh, she got a baby running out of there. Boy, look at this. You want to go vacation in the Maldives? Nah, it ain't happening. Look at that. Yeah, not happening. You heard them? Let's go. India wasn't safe from no landslide either, y'all. Look at this. Heavy rains cause landslide, more landslide. And you would think this is a tornado, but this is actually another food plant in Texas that got taken down, y'all. So weather's got it bad. Food industry's got it bad. Farmers got it bad. Yeah, the whole world is going through it, y'all. So that means we got it bad. So Usher knew what he was talking about. Yeah, Usher knew what he was talking about when he said we got it bad. He was ahead of his time, y'all. Definitely. So the world's got it bad right now. I hope you guys are staying in high spirits, you guys, because again, this is the great cleanse, the great cleanse. Y'all see God everywhere. Everybody stopping for God to work. How you gonna stop God do what God do? Let me know down in the comments below, y'all. This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during this interesting time. And I keep telling y'all, it's gonna get a lot more interesting. Thank y'all for tuning to my frequency. You already know what to do, y'all. We end this shit. Let's get it.
Look how cold it is in Chicago. It looks like a scene from the movie. There's Trump's building there. Now, I've visited Chicago before, and I remember the wind was almost unbearable. But right now, look at this. It's so cold that it's turning into what looks like a hot spring because the temperature's -7, but the water's warmer than the weather outside. That's what's so strange. So imagine how cold it is with the wind factor there in Chicago. Man, I feel so sorry for the people who are homeless in the city because you would pass away. But just take a look at some of these videos right here. I couldn't believe it. Chicago is already a cold place. Imagine right now. This blizzard is insane.
Shall propose further cooperative effort between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control.
I think they hyped it up more than what it really came out to be. But don't get me wrong, it's still cold as heck outside. Y'all think they mess with the heart temperature gauge?
We can build and we can destroy with our hands. But what if I told you they were actually superpowers? All the ancestors and the ancients knew about our hands. They can protect us, they can heal us, and they can also make sure demons do not get close. A great movie to check out is Ninja Assassin. It speaks about our hands and how it can heal our physical body. By the way, I made a video speaking about why you shouldn't touch people in public. You can check out that video. Everything is done in threes when it comes to this planet. And there are 3 types of people on this planet. If you put your palms together, it will show you what kind of person you really are. Study your palm. By the way, these are my palms. As you can see, my lines are perfect. Check out your lines. We hear about the 7 chakras in our bodies, but did you know we have chakra points in our hands? Once you understand this, we can heal our bodies. We can heal the water. We can heal our food. We can heal everything. Our hands are superpower. Always keep people at arm's reach. Remember, if you want to know what kind of person you are, take your hands and combine them and see what kind of lines you get. And I guarantee your life will be much different.
Do your hands have secret powers?
Treat yourself. Treat.
Hands and fingers are electrical outlet circuits of the entire electrical body in a circuit that electricity flows through, which is power. This is the reason why mudras is a concept, and it's this whole concept of empowerment, which if you don't know, different hand symbols that you may see celebrities or other Illuminati type wannabe members making, and also the concept of attracting things or sending certain power out of your body. This natural energy frequency is going to be tied into a lot of thoughts right now, such as putting your hands on your head when you pray for somebody, and why the Bible tells you to do that. Also, if you accidentally hit somebody, you have an instant subconscious reaction to put your hands on them in a loving way as if to take away the pain. There's some sort of technology or programming at work there. Also, I want to take this concept to the Hebrew blessings, when the priests would hold up their hands in the symbol of the shin and bless the congregation with the number 6 blessing, like they were instructed to by the book. So this concept of the hand being some sort of technology for electrical power or other power to flow through is an interesting concept. Electromagnetic power. Think about how static electricity builds up and you can feel it just before you touch somebody. And then there's the discharge. The body is an electrical circuit. You have secret powers you don't know about. How about eye contact? We'll close with this quick thought. I had the thought one day about eye contact transmits energy, and I looked it up and I found articles where scientists have found that eye contact does indeed transmit light energy. This is why sometimes you maybe feel like or don't feel like making eye contact with somebody. Future manners conspiracy video coming up. The whole reason manners were invented in general and some of the practices we do were to manipulate us. Don't forsake the power you have. Learn more about what you are. We're just scratching the surface. We're going to get into all sorts of interesting things. See you next time on Cold Brew Conspiracy.
From what I heard, your hands got a lot of powers. I feel like in order to access it, you gotta have the right knowledge and the right practice.
Morbid Facts, Part 183. In 1981, Japanese college student Issei Sagawa invited over his classmate Renee Hartevelt for dinner at his apartment. He told the 25-year-old Dutch student that he would help her translate some poetry for a school assignment, but his real plan was much, much darker. As Renee was reading a poem, Sagawa shot her in the back of the head with a rifle and killed her instantly. He then spent the next 2 days eating her flesh so that he could absorb her health and beauty, characteristics that he felt he lacked. It was a plan that was decades in the making, but it only took police 2 days to arrest him. However, a French court found him legally insane and deported him to Japan, where Sagawa managed to avoid serving any jail time due to a legal technicality. Despite the gruesome details of the murder and his lack of remorse, Sagawa became somewhat of a celebrity and regularly gave interviews in the years following his release. To this day, he remains free and even says he wants to taste human flesh again before he dies.
Where is the surgeon hiding?
This video surfaced online of a strange object in the skies over a desert. As the camera zooms in, we see what looks like the outline of a large sphere or disk. Is this just a strange cloud formation, or something more unique? Leave your comments.
We're probably going to be able to talk to animals this year. Yeah. The Earth Species Project is using AI to decode animal language. So they made models of words and their associations of like star to universe and star to like a famous person. And then it makes one of these. The 10,000 most used words in a language get made into a model. The coolest part, I thought, is that they all look almost exactly the same, which ironically looks like a backwards 16th note. So they use the same technique on animals and listen to them when they communicate, and then they make a model of one of these. It's then matched with the English model or whatever language you speak, and then translated back to you. Sick. But there's another layer. You can only understand things because of geometry, even words. In cymatics, noise is chaos, pattern, order. An ordered sound creates symmetry in the folds of a wave. And then that pattern means something, like the vowels you see up there. Those individual geometries can then be understood by your brain. You can then form those into words or harmony in music. It's all the same. It's even in your DNA. I just want to talk to my dog, and hopefully if we can find some harmony with AI, we can talk to these guys. A good place to start learning about these geometries would be the book that I wrote. In my opinion, with no bias, it's the best place to start if you like this kind.
We well overdue for conversations with animals.
Tesla owners, during this cold weather, you guys are in trouble. Check this out.
Thank you. That cold is also causing some big-time headaches for Chicago area owners of electric vehicles.
Yes, I never thought we'd say this, but it's true. As Dane Placco reports, the low temperatures have caused some headaches for owners looking to charge their cars.
Electric cars may be the way of the future, but it's clear there are some problems when it comes to charging them in Chicago's deep freeze.
Oh, we got a bunch of dead robots out here.
Dead robots. Dead Teslas packed the parking lot at this Tesla supercharging station in Oak Brook, a scene mirrored in other supercharging stations around the Chicago area.
Yeah, this is crazy. It's a disaster. Seriously.
With temperatures falling into the negative double digits, these charging ports have stopped charging, leaving many Tesla owners stranded here in long lines since Sunday.
Nothing, no juice, it's still on 0%. And this is like 3 hours this morning being out here after being out here 8 hours yesterday.
Has it been charging?
No, not at all.
It just isn't working.
At all. It's just frozen, and so I'm now getting it towed to the Tesla Service Center because that's my only option at this point.
Adding to their frustration, they say, is that they're getting no help when they call Tesla for assistance.
No response from Tesla. We have been suffering since yesterday afternoon.
These are unusually cold temperatures, but do you find this acceptable?
No, not at all. Not really. I think it's less on the actual vehicle and more on the infrastructure.
Tesla has not responded to our emails for comment, but an automobile expert we talked to said that the owners of all EVs should hit the battery precondition button on their car before attempting to charge it.
Did you guys see how upset he got? I mean, I would be upset too if that was my mode of transportation and now I can't move around, y'all. So people that own a Tesla, they got y'all, dog. Just own it up. You know what I'm saying? Take the L. You feel me? Take the L. But meanwhile, you guys got electric cars. Everybody in NASA got gas guzzlers. Old 1970 vehicles. How about that? Did y'all hear about that? That's gonna be a part 2, y'all. This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during these interesting times. Let me know what you guys think about this video down below, y'all. Like, share, and follow for more videos like this. Thank you for tuning to my frequency. We in this ship, y'all. Let's get it. Peace in. Alright guys, on a more serious note, were you guys aware that all of NASA owned cars from the 1970s and earlier? I want you to watch this video, and if you have not seen my previous video, go watch my previous video because it's directly related to this. But watch this video, you guys.
Okay, this is a bit creepy. Let me know what you guys think. So, why does NASA have all these old school cars? My thoughts are, they're cars without computers in them. All from the 1970s. They're preparing for an EMP blast. What's odd is they're not just old school NASA cars. Here's a news car. They have a whole fleet from NASA vehicles.
I ain't gonna cap. Some of them cars out there are pretty clean.
Semi trucks, ambulances. Perhaps this is where that $50 million a day budget is going, because we all know it's certainly not getting us into space. Collectors of CGI videos and apparently old school cars. Let me know what you think they're using them for. Question everything, friends.
And then with all that's going on with the movie Leave the World Behind, and then all the problems that we're experiencing with Tesla, well, those who have a Tesla, and then we're just enjoying the view from social media, we can definitely say we see the reason why Elon Musk is trying to leave out of here, you guys. This is why he's trying to leave the earth. You see that? He's running away from you guys. You guys got to go hunt him down. That's why. He made billions off of you. And what happened to his truck? He never dropped his truck, did he? He never dropped the truck. Look at that, y'all. Oh my goodness. So let me know what you guys think about this video, you guys. This video is strictly for entertainment purposes only. I am only raising awareness to interesting situations during this interesting times, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning to my frequency. You already know what to do, y'all. Keep up with me on my other accounts, especially on my YouTube, where I go deeper on the esoteric level.
Okay, they went old school fleet. I ain't mad at NASA. Maybe we need to take notes. How we out here making a fuss because NASA want to ride old school candy paint?
Yo, look at this. Yo, y'all gotta wait until 2020, yo. Just look at this, and how can this be, bro? Bro, y'all gonna tell the immediate difference. Something was weird right there. Look at that. Look at that. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Something. There's something. This one too. If you just look at the mitts. Like, look at that. Like, look at that. Yo.
Facelifts and necklace whooping his ass. It looked like he got his eyeball skin pent up to his forehead.
So the story is about 8:45 in the morning. The dispatcher gets a call from range control, a technical sergeant from range control, and he says, I'm reporting an event that occurred at LF21 and LF10, two different sites in the same location. And what he said was the contractors working on site called range control, and they said there was a gigantic floating red square over LF21 at low altitude. And they were just standing there watching this thing.
Was it a three-dimensional object that just appeared to be a square and it just couldn't tell?
There were three contractors that worked for Boeing that saw this object, and they wrote sworn written statements. To the best of my recollection, it was a somewhat flattened square plane, yeah, and basically just a big square object, the size of a football field, silently floating over the launch pad. Red in color, glowing this red color. So as far as I know, it wasn't a cube. It was like a flattened square.
Got it.
At 8:45, the call came in from range control. They said the contractors say there's this gigantic floating red square over the launch facility. And the flight chief and the senior patrolman drove out to the facility, and they met the contractors. And then later, they brought in the technical sergeant from range control that called in the initial call, that received the complaint from the contractor saying there's this UFO. They brought that person in and had him write a written statement. I have his written statement. And I also have the blotter entry. And I'm just like, okay, this is crazy, you know. I was like completely like excited about the event because it was real. So the story is about 8:45 in the morning. The dispatcher gets a call from range control, a technical sergeant.
They were capable of living lives that spanned hundreds of thousands of years. They created a mining settlement they called ReThink, Earth Station 1, in the Persian Gulf, under a leader named Enki. The tablets convey, after a kingship descended from heaven, it was in ReThink. These visitors were not alone. They brought another extraterrestrial race with them. They were called the Ajiji, and they worked as their slaves. The Ajiji were considered inferior. They served the Anunnaki by mining gold. As civilizations grew, the Ajiji endured crushing labor. And these stories are consistent with Babylonian tablets from the 18th century BC. When the gods, man-like, bore the labor, carried the load, the gods' load was great, the toil grievous, the trouble excessive. The great Anunnaki made the Ajiji undertake the toil. After many centuries, the Ajiji rebelled, mistakenly believing they could overcome these oppressive masters. Their defeat almost completely annihilated their race, leaving the Anunnaki without a workforce. Unable to replace the Ajiji, Nibiru's ruler, Anu, ordered his son Enki to genetically engineer a new slave race, one that was intelligent enough to perform complex work but still be subservient to the Anunnaki. His experiments are recounted in detail in Atrahasis. Many unique creatures were created. Enki finally successfully met his goal, and the result? A genetic hybrid between Earth's caveman, Homo erectus, and the Anunnaki themselves. This hybrid we call Homo sapiens. The tablets, called first men, the Adamu. In Hebrew, Adam means man. The Anunnaki put the Homo sapiens to work in the mines and elsewhere in Mesopotamia. The Semitic word avad, or worship, literally means work for. Hence, early men had no choice but to worship their gods. According to the pictographs and texts, these Anunnaki, who we know lived many centuries, were giants compared to the Homo sapiens. Now, because their main purpose in life was to serve the Anunnaki, Homo sapiens were, in return, educated with social skills and academic affairs and technology. All this is abundantly clear in the tablets. The new human slaves were sterile, but as the demand for workforce increased, they were re-engineered so that they could reproduce. This later led to an overpopulation. So later, many humans were banished from the safety of their cities, giving rise to the story of the Garden of Eden and the story of banishment from paradise for procreating. As humans evolved to become more intelligent, some Anunnaki leaders bred with these humans. The children which resulted from these forbidden unions between races were called the Nephilim, or giants of old. Tablets say that these practices enraged Enlil, the Anu leader of that time, who was also the brother of Enki. Enlil wanted to ensure no human would ever rise to power and potentially rule Nibiru. Naturally, the interbreeding increased that risk.
Who are the Anunnaki? And what do they really want from us? So if you're part of the spiritual community or even the ET community, you have heard about the Anunnaki. They're basically theorized to be our alien overlords, or the aliens that created us. What I'm about to say is going to be slightly controversial, but because the Anunnaki are so mainstream and almost every ET person, spiritual person knows about this term, I'm going to give you a different perspective. In my belief, they are not on our side, and they did not create us. The Anunnaki, from my study, from my beliefs, from my past lives, because I've had past lives that I've seen these creatures, they are an invader race, and they are a part of the Orion group. The Orion group consists of Draco reptilians, other types of reptilians, Zeta Greys, Palladians, another one that the mainstream media likes to romanticize, but they're not on our side, and the Anunnaki. These are what I like to call galactic colonizers. They are all a part of the fallen angelic bloodline. Now, don't be mystified by the idea of, oh, fallen angelics, like how the Bible says. No, it's nothing like what religious texts are trying to make you believe. Fallen angelic bloodlines is just another way of saying higher dimensional entities choosing to worship their ego. Instead of evolving into accepting everything as God, accepting that we are all one and, spreading kindness, compassion, order, they went the opposite route. They chose disorder, control, ego, and that's where Satanism comes from. Satanism is actually a part of the fallen angelic bloodline beliefs. So like I was saying, the Anunnaki, the Orion group, they are invader races. The best example I can give you, it's going to sound a little bit ridiculous, is the Avatar movie with the Na'vi. Think of human beings at one point being like the Na'vi, and then the humans are like the Orion group, and they came down and colonized us, but they took it a step further. Because they understand genetics, physics, science so much better than we do, they dumbed us down genetically. Because everything in this known universe works through vibration and frequency, so does your DNA, and it's very easy. Once you know that key, it's very easy to alter somebody's DNA just through vibration and frequency. We were not created by the Anunnaki. They are not our founders' races. They altered us, and they made us worse than what we used to be. This is why in the Bible they say, oh, jealous fallen angels, like they were jealous of humanity. It's actually not jealousy, it's greed. They're here because they're greedy, and unfortunately, majority of the elite carry their bloodline, which is why they don't interbreed with anybody else that's not a part of the elite. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this?
How do y'all feel about that Anunnaki theory? Y'all think they was our creators? Do you feel like we are a product of gene manipulation?
India lands on the moon, but is it real?
जी हाँ, आप अपनी स्क्रीन पे देख सकते हैं कि हम लैंडर मॉड्यूल.
The India moon landing looks like an Atari video game, and people are, we did it. We did it, guys. We landed on the moon. I have a camera right now, which is showing every part of my body and can show you almost like the detail of like 4K. But the camera used for the moon landing is like pixels, like Atari or Nintendo. But the camera I'm using has like 4K, can scan my retinas, can tell me my hair color, all kinds of things. But the cameras used for the moon landing are like pixelated Atari graphics. Like looking at Donkey Kong. Trillions of dollars on our space programs. Trillions and trillions of dollars for somebody to dress up in an aluminum foil suit and pretending to be jumping around on the moon or simulating what it would be like if we were on the moon. Meanwhile, they're in Scottsdale, Arizona, right down the street, simulating what it looks like for a moon landing. But then they film it with Hollywood CGI and Hollyweird and all that situation, and then they broadcast it back to the people that they've landed on the moon, and we sent our little rover onto the moon, and you guys got to watch the camera, so it must be real. So you have to ask questions about everything that you're showed, because it's just a mockery.
I don't have too much to say about that, but I do think I played that game when I was a little kid.
When the Roman Empire was collapsing, there was a man named Constantine. And Constantine ended up having this brilliant idea where they would restructure the Roman Empire. He's like, okay, so how do we control everything? And they were like, well, if we rewrite history, we can write the future too, because who controls the past controls the future. And then they also realized, well, we can't really have people like reaching higher states of consciousness through spirituality and through these teachings, so let's also take over religion. People don't know is that the Roman Empire used to be a non-monotheistic civilization, meaning that they didn't believe in a single god. And what they did was they then turned into a monotheistic religion. And instead, then they started like persecuting anyone that wasn't a Christian, remember? But then what they did was interesting, is then they burned the Library of Alexandria, and then what they did is they went around the world and systematically destroyed all the ancient groups that were pre-Christian, such as the Gnostics. That's the entire reason why the Dogon ended up in Mali. Because Egypt was under religious persecution from not only the Romans but other groups. And so the Roman Empire, the Crusades by the Christian Empire, was not about just converting people to Christianity, but it was about literally destroying any echoes of the past.
There have been some strange clouds appearing in the sky all over the world, Booskies.
Have you heard of the new moon glitch?
For some mysterious reason, people have been recording what looks like two moons in the sky all over the world. Is it glitching? I'm going to show you guys 3 videos. Pay very close attention.
Matrix, al parecer, notó que había 2 lunas, como podemos apreciar en este video. ¿Se tratará de una falla en la Matrix, una ilusión, o tal vez la segunda luna?
How is this even possible?
Ustedes, por favor,
There's
This
moon
next
one.
video was recorded in Wichita.
Now that there appears to be the moon.
Because the moon is right there. You got that right there. Something is going down.
For sure, there's two moons.
Something is going down. What about this video?
What the?
Two ladies went hiking and they heard something in the woods and recorded it in this video. No explanation. And they are calm. What do you guys think? Check this out.
They got something. Are they getting closer to me? No?
I would be gone. Listen.
A biker just went that way, and the sound got worse. We're frozen here. Because that doesn't sound like coyotes.
That sounds like something supernatural. What do you guys think it is in the comments below?
Man, that's the worst. I would have took off out of there. There's been times where I went hiking by myself and heard noises, not like that, but it was enough to have me shook.
If you have kids, you need to see this. First, you know the drill. This is all alleged, this is all speculation, this is all my analysis based on the news. Y'all better start homeschooling those kids while you have a chance. We're starting to have a lot of opponents for some reason. Why does the Washington Post hate homeschooling? Let's look into this. First, this is why it's a problem, because homeschooling is the fastest growing form of education right now in the United States, because the parents know how nefarious and evil the school system is. We don't want our children brainwashed, especially not by satanic stuff. Is that so much to ask for? Apparently it is. Watch. Washington Post editor said, quote, policymakers should think, wow, this is a lot of kids. I wonder why. We should worry about whether they are learning anything. Are you kidding me? I never learned anything valuable in school. Everything I learned was a lie, and everything that teaches how to please Satan. Yeah, I said it. Satan. How a true believer's flawed research helped legitimize homeschooling. So what that's state? Now this is crazy. Catholics, what's this about? U.S. Catholic. Toxic homeschool culture is a Catholic problem too, as stories emerge of harmful ideologies and cultures of abuse in Christian fundamentalist homeschool culture. Catholics need to confront their issues in their own communities. Do you see why I say you need to get away from Catholicism? Do you know in the 1500s they called Catholicism the literal seat of Satan himself? They're literally releasing all these articles saying that homeschool's where you find the abuse. Yeah, no, the school system is the abuse. And of course, the leading deceptionist, Harvard, wants to get in on it. Professor Elizabeth Barlathot says that there is a dark side to homeschooling, and calls for a radical transformation. Do yourself a favor and homeschool those kids while you can. Obviously, if they don't want you to, you should.
Beginning of sorrows. Am I the only one that feels like we're in the beginning of sorrows? Let me tell you why. We have to first read Matthew 24:6-8. And you will hear wars and rumors of war. See that you not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilence, earthquakes in various places. All these things are the beginnings of sorrow. Let's break it down. Nation will rise against nation. America and the Houthis, Israel and Palestine, Russia and Ukraine, China and Taiwan. What's going on in Brazil? I can keep going on for days. Earthquakes in various places. We started with 2024 with Japan getting hit with an earthquake, a massive one. Yesterday, Mexico just got hit with an earthquake too. Not to mention in our backyard, Oklahoma just got cluster fucked by earthquakes. All over the world, they're getting earthquakes. As war break out and mess with the trade. And what happens when it mess with the trade? Famine. I'm just saying, all the signs are really starting to sign. Let me know in the comments, do y'all think we in the beginning of sorrows or not? Like or follow for more wisdom mistakes.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe, but I'll catch y'all later.